All right. Good, sweetheart. First, tell me everything you know about sports.
I know that you scored 4 touchdowns in one game for Pokai.
Very good. What else?
Golf spelled backwards is flog.
Let's rock.
Thanks, Dad.
Can I get a whooping?
No Man presents, live from the nudie bar, the Married with Children podcast.
Welcome back, Married with Children podcast listeners. My name is Tyler, and you gotta remember to squeeze it, not jerk it.
Tyler, this God we pray to, what do you think she looks like?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, it's me, Steven Scott. I'm back in with my always faithful partner, Tyler. We're going to be reviewing Kelly Knows Something today. This is Season 8, Episode 26. It originally aired on May 22nd, 1994, and it was written by Al Adelkeman, if I can say that right, and it was directed by Amanda Bierce. Tyler, I gotta say, I really enjoyed this one for a change.
Absolutely. And I love that when you said Amanda Bierce, that actually connected some lines in my head that I was thinking while I was watching it earlier, that explains why this episode is just nice and fun. And we don't normally see that with Married with Children, and that just being fun and just being nice and having things kind of work out, it usually could be a detriment to a formula like Married with Children's, but I think you and me can both agree with how life has been for everybody lately. Positivity is a good thing right now.
Definitely. We've been in the deep freeze forever. Oh, man. So, and also, Season 8, Episode 26 is also very special because it is the last episode of Season 8. We did it, Steven. We did it, Luigi. We did it, Chris. We did it, Annabelle. We did it, Matt. We did it, all of y'all on the Facebook page. You guys did it with us. So there's going to be a lot of this in the future, but I want me and Steven to be the first to shout it. Hell yeah. Oh, yeah. Congratulations to us all. And we're going to have the season 8 wrap-up show, probably next week.
Yeah, next week. Next week for you guys. So far in the past, we're talking to you from the future. I love how much we've done in advance. This is so much fun because listeners, a little behind the look. Me and Steven probably are going to be jumping right out of recording this to doing a special episode in Season 9, but we're not going to tell you which one. You're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, that's the truth. And you talked about us living in the future, but I don't live in any of them. I live by the words of Al Bundy. He once said that you can't live in the past or the present or the future.
That's true. That's very true.
Sunday, get ready for Fox's Grand Slam lineup, hosted by baseball superstar Deion Sanders. First, Tom Selleck stars in a special movie presentation.
Got any naked pictures of your wife?
Of Mr. Baseball.
Want to see some?
Then, Al has a shot at winning $10,000 on a TV game show.
Oh, baby, you're getting some tonight.
Catch the Married with Children season finale, part of a full hour. The Fox Grand Slam lineup, hosted by Deion Sanders, starts Sunday at 7, 6 Central.
You know what, Stephen? Why don't we talk about a little bit about what we loved and specifically some of the key points that we liked about this episode. Do you want to throw anything out before we start talking about it?
Actually, I just want to get right into the episode. We can talk about how we felt about it afterwards. That's how I like to do it.
Okay, well, I wanted to throw one little thing that I noticed, just getting it right out there, is that this is one of those episodes that I think is trying to bring everything that was good about it, that the fans loved about it, back. Like, I really wish there was some interviews I could find, but there's just nothing out there about what the creators were thinking. And I just think I saw a decline in, quality, and I think they saw it too, because this episode pulls a lot of stuff from earlier seasons.
Oh, yes, yes. And including one of my favorite jokes, which we'll talk about when we get to.
Mm-hmm. And, but as you said, though, you want to get right into it? Well, let's get right into it.
You wouldn't know this, but it's tough out there for those of us without a couch growing out of our butt. A fat woman, Godzilla's into the shoe store today. Asked for something she could wear to walk in the woods. Jokingly, I suggest she wear a sign that says, "Don't shoot from the front, I look human." Now, you'd think a woman could take a little good-humored teasing, but what does she do? Complains to the owner, who gives her a gift certificate for $200 worth of free shoes. And you know whose paycheck that's gonna come out of?
Kelly's?
Damn right, if I could find out where she hides her purse.
Al walks in the door, and remember what Peggy is reading, the National something, and it had a headline in there that joke found in Howie Mandel's act.
Oh, that's right. Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
I watched this episode like 5 minutes before we started recording, but it all just kind of like washed over me. So there's just so many good things I forgot. Okay, but yeah, you're right. Al made his nice appearance in. Peggy's reading her wonderful Howie Mandel trivia.
And the reason why she was reading that was she was concealing her pregnancy at that time.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of scenes with her just having jackets over her and covering up the stomach. But you know what? I prefer this over her calling up from Waker County.
Oh, definitely. That's true.
Now for something I want to look at.
And now on Fox, it's the new adventures of Psycho Dad.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes!
With the tall, dark stranger there. The one with the gun and the icy stare. The one with the scalp of his ex-wife's hair. Psycho Dad. Psycho Dad. Psycho Dad. He's a darn good pa, but he hates the law. Sheriff Reno to eat it raw. Psycho
Now with less violence, but more kinky sex and nudity for a cleaner and saner America.
Peg, I'm so excited.
Oh, but Al, I hate Psycho Dad. Can't we
Peg,
just...
there's nothing in heaven and earth that will stop me from watching Psycho Dad. So this god person, what do you think she looks like?
Who is the tall, dark stranger there? They're the one with the
Yeah.
gun and the icy stare.
Yeah. Psycho Dad.
Oh, 1 second, Steven. I got to ask. Were you singing along with Al Bundy, but were you singing along with him the exact same way he was? Because he, like, murmurs some of the lines like, who's the stranger there? Like, he knows the theme song, but it's been so long that he hasn't really heard it. He just knows how it goes.
Well, the lyrics change every time. He was probably just a little bit behind, maybe reading the cue cards or something, and it's just because, like I said, those lyrics are different every single time.
Yeah, but I'm specifically how Ed O'Neill, the actor, was, because, he had his lines memorized, but he chose to sing it the way you and me would probably sing a theme song to a show that we probably hadn't seen in a while. And we're just so happy. He was just so giddy that he was kind of like, yeah, that's right. I know how that sentence ends. I don't know, just when Psycho Dad queued up, I was bouncing on my seat. I'm like, oh, yay! I never remember when they're going to do it, but I love it every time.
Yeah, I probably, I don't know. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, I always forget the line, which Psycho Dad one has my favorite line, killed his wife by 21. And I keep waiting for that.
That was from another time. I
keep waiting for that line, but it never showed up.
what I liked was, and now on Fox, and they both kind of cringe. They kind of taking a stab at their own network, which is kind of unheard of. Usually that doesn't happen.
Yeah, they were the first, actually, I think, because I always thought the Simpsons were the first ones to do it, but they were doing it before. So I think they might have been the very first, and Simpsons were like, huh, Married with Children can do it. And they didn't get pulled. Maybe we can.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, you were asking about Psycho Dad references. It was in season 5, episode 2, when it first debuted.
So Psycho Dad, I gotta keep talking about Psycho Dad, has appeared actually 6 times, as far as we can tell, from season 5, episode 2, Al with Kelly, all the way down to season 9, episode 13. You know what? Episode 12 and 13, I Want My Psycho Dad Part 1 and 2. Because in season 9, and we haven't gotten to that one yet, has 2 whole episodes titled Psycho Dad, and season 8 has 2, but the only other 2 we have is one in season 5 and one in season 6. Didn't even touch it in season 7. We see right here that the fact that they have 2 appearances of Psycho Dad in season 8 and 2 in season 9 tells me I can just see a whiteboard somewhere in the Married with Children studio going, things that everyone loves, and Psycho Dad circled in big like color, and they're just like, how do we put it? And there's all these other little things too, like scoring 4 touchdowns in a single game, and just little tiny things, details that I think they're trying to reach for those old fans. And looking at the schedule of Psycho Dad appearances tells me I think I might be right on that.
Or they're not going to pull off a reboot, but I was thinking a great joke if they did do a reboot would be Al either finally getting his DVD copies of Psycho Dad, or him finally finding it streaming somewhere.
Oh, Steven, I wish you hadn't even said reboot, because I keep seeing so many shows and things rebooted, and I see the formula, and this could work so well. I guess Katie Seagal and Ed O'Neill just don't. A good number of them just don't want to do it, and if you can't get them all back, don't even bother.
Well, I think they're all in it except for one person who will remain nameless.
Yes.
Not a character. But anyway, let's move on here, because then Al gets the worst experience ever. The TV goes out.
In a way that I haven't seen a TV go out in a long time. Did anything cause it, Steven? I can't remember. Did it just go out?
It just went out. Nothing caused it.
I would be terrified.
Not a lightning strike.
I would be terrified if all of a sudden my TV started smoking. Because it just doesn't, flicker off. It almost catches on fire.
Probably. And that's the weird thing. The TVs, I remember, used to go out. Do you have a flat screen, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah. All the flat screens are out now. But those old tubular TVs, they would just usually just go out. There was usually no smoke or anything like that. They just did it for dramatic effect.
I'm so sorry, Steven. I totally was confused when you said, you have a flat screen, right? Oh, no, you were asking whether or not I had one of those gigantic, heavy, kill you dead TVs that's maybe only 20 inches big but weigh like 1 million pounds. No, I don't have one of those. I left it back home in 1995.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, but TV gone, and basically the god of Married with Children universe is like, plot, begin.
Hey, smells like something's cooking in here.
Our TV set blew up.
Buy a second-hand TV set. For $10, you can't go wrong, you said. Well, now look, 20 years later, the damn thing's broken.
Al, what is the big deal? Just go out and buy a new one.
just buy a new one. Well, spank my bottom. Why didn't I think of that? Hello, Wally's World of Free TVs? Yeah, what do you have on sale today for absolutely nothing?
Guys, I got a solution, though God knows it's not for all your problems. They're having tryouts for a new game show called Touchdown Trivia. First prize is $10,000. And there's no one who knows more about sports or is more trivial than you, Al.
$10,000. Why, with that, I could buy a big screen, I could buy a satellite dish, have money left over to change the locks in the house, and watch all this in peace. I'm going to those auditions. Don't wait up for me.
I wasn't going to.
I was talking to Jefferson.
Well, Steven, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this episode because this is weird. This is a sports episode, and listeners probably know I don't know jack shit about sports, but I do love me watching sports trivia. So basically, the way we're going to solve our TV problem is there is a game show brought on by Jefferson that they're having a game show called Touchdown Trivia, a show that I would never make it on, where you basically just answer trivia Jeopardy style. And the first prize is $10,000, which would get Al a new TV, a new TV, new locks in the doors, and a new way where he can watch all this stuff in peace.
Yeah. Let's back up a little bit here, okay?
Well, I thought they got right into the sports topics, like right after the TV pro.
Because I wanted to bring up something. You were bringing up about the TV. I want to bring up something, too. Yeah, you were talking about Girls Just Want to Have Fun, Part 1.
You know, Steve, 16 years ago, Peg's father came to me and said, "Here, take it. From me to you, it's yours. It's hardly been used." I should have known there was something up. Come to think of it, he sold me that refrigerator, too.
That's right. Oh, my gosh. Yes, everything's second-handed. You know what? I take it back. This wasn't a sign from God. This was just going to happen sooner.
Yeah, and actually, I thought of something when watching this. Remember, Peg sold the TV to go to Vegas with Marcy in, You Gotta Know When to Hold 'Em. So this has to be a new TV, but this is Married with Children, and continuity doesn't mean a damn thing.
I think you're right. So the TV was secondhand, probably from a least reputable source, was traded in, and best case scenario came back to them. Whew, this TV's got some miles.
I'll bet you anything it was made by Mare.
Mare? Oh, really? I thought it was
from Sofa So Good.
Oh, really? I was gonna say I thought it was a Sorny, but okay.
Yeah.
Good pull there, Stephen. Good pull. I completely forgot that TV was secondhand. Oh, well.
And then, of course, Jefferson came in, and I love it when Al says, "Just wait right there. I'll be back later," or something like that. And Peggy says, "Where am I going to go?" And Al says, "I was talking to Jefferson."
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And just here's Jefferson. And I notice, remembering that, I almost said Marcy, remembering that Amanda Burse is directing this episode, she obviously left herself out for the most part.
Yeah, and she used herself pretty well, I think.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But and that's one of the things they're focusing our attention on the stuff that we loved, specifically the weird romantic relationship that Jefferson and Al have sometimes, where they play surrogate spouses to each other. I love that. I think that's really cute.
First, let me congratulate you on passing the written test. For the final audition, we will play a simulated game of sports trivia, both national and local. Any questions?
Well, I'd like to know one if we get
places, please. And now we will introduce our host, Travis James.
Man, I
hate rehearsals. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
I want to talk right now about our special guest of the episode, Travis James, played by one of my now favorite actors, Todd Christensen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've got a lot of good information on him.
I will let you tell us all about it, but let me just give my impression of this guy. I thought this was when he first ran out and I saw that mustache, I was like, holy shit, did someone just stretch Tom Selleck out and make him like thin? Because that's who I immediately thought. But once he started talking, I'm like, oh, that's not him. It's just the mustache I'm thinking about. And this guy brings he's not a good actor. I'm going to say that right now. I did not think he was a good actor, and that makes sense.
This was one of his very few acting things he ever did.
Which is good because he's a football player, right, Steven?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. But he's having so much fun. I want to say, I really think there was a lot of enthusiasm with this episode. Everyone was on point, and you can usually tell that from their guest stars. When their guests really look like they're having fun, it makes me think that the set and the crew and everybody making the episode was just on good spirits, and they just treat their guests very well, and they can get great performances out of, a lot of times, not the best actors. They've got football players, they got Playboy bunnies, they've got models and people who are not usually in show business for their acting skills, but they almost always can get good performances out of people. And this is a good example.
But anyway, Todd Christensen, he was born in Bellefonte, Pennsylvania. He played for the Dallas Cowboys. He went to Brigham Young University. Then he was drafted by the Cowboys in the 1978 draft. He used to be a fullback like Al Bundy. However, Dallas wanted him to be a tight end. Well, he didn't want to do that. And he only played one game in that organization. Then he went to the Giants, and then he was almost immediately traded to the Oakland Raiders, which is unique because the Oakland Raiders always used players that other teams didn't want to build their dynasty in the 1970s.
Oh, that's why I hear so many jokes about the Oakland Raiders? I always thought.
Well, they're also the club that has the record of jumping from one city to the other more than any other team, because they went to from Oakland to Los Angeles, back to Oakland, and now they're in Vegas.
Now, see, I just want to point out, Steven, I'm speaking for the audience members who know jack shit about sports. But I do always hear. Oh, he's a Raiders fan, or screw the Raiders, or that thing, F the Raiders seems to be a common thing I've heard, and I always do they have a lot of bad players, or why? What's going on? Apparently they do.
Well, they used to be a very very excellent team, but that declined over the years. But anyway, back to what I was talking about here. Is that's when he finally excelled, when he got to the Raiders.
Okay.
And he was part of their Super Bowl campaign. And then he really broke out in 1982 and catching 42 passes for 510 yards. He topped 1,000 yards. Let's see, I don't think he got in the Hall of Fame. I don't think he was quite that caliber. And then he went into broadcasting. The broadcast booth did an excellent job there. He died pretty young. He was only 57, which is 3 years older than I am.
Oh, wow. How did he die? Do you happen to know?
Yes, he was undergoing a liver transplant.
Oh.
And there were complications. His son, Tori, said the liver issues began after a botched gallbladder surgery when he was 25 years younger. So that would when he was about 23, I guess, 22. Died pretty young. It was really kind of sad, although he was a good player and fun to watch.
Oh, being from Oklahoma and that area, you said Travis, that the announcer for this episode. I meant to say this last time, but it went by so quickly. You said he went to Brigham University?
Brigham Young University.
Brigham Young. That's popped a little flag in my history head. Brigham Young was a member of the Mormon Church, right? One of the earliest members.
Mhm.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's basically it. I don't know the whole details on it. I'm not an expert on the history, but I think he became the leader after Joseph Smith died.
Okay, so he was like next in freaking charge. Okay. Wow. So like I haven't heard the words so and so attended Brigham Young University before in my life. I didn't know there was a Brigham Young University. Huh. Okay. Well, I just thought like Oklahoma, Utah, that kind of area, just like there seems to be a lot of like, what do you call that area of the country? It's not, is it mid?
Southwest.
Yeah.
Mid or Southwest.
I'm noticing there's a lot of connections to Southwest America that it does not get usually explored that much in popular culture and media and stuff. Like most of the, areas are identified as the East Coast, the West Coast, aka LA. Maybe if they go south, it's Mexico, Texas area, but Oklahoma, Nevada, and Vegas don't count. Nevada, Utah, Oregon, Oklahoma, all of these states that just kind of get forgotten about. And I'm just noticing there's some more people that we can make connections in with Married with Children from that area. They're farming out to people that probably wouldn't get noticed.
Yeah.
First contestant is Al Bundy.
Yes, Travis. I was born.
Then we go to our second contestant, Max Weinberg. Max. That's short for nothing. Fine. Okay. Our third contestant is Mike McKenzie.
Hi, Travis.
Don't speak to me, Mike. It's just a rehearsal, okay? Now it's time for touchdown trivia. Okay, contestants, we're all familiar with the famous running back O.J. Simpson. For 5 yards, what do the initials O.J. stand for? Al.
Orenthal James.
That's correct.
Eat my dust.
Okay, the second question. What was the World Bowl? Al.
Title game of the now defunct World Football League. Travis, excuse me. Do you want me to rush or you want me to pretend that I have to think about this?
Here's a 10-yard question. What occupational oddity is shared by Henry Aaron, Willie Mays, and Babe Ruth? Mike.
They're all baseball players.
Been in this country long, Mike? Be a little more specific, please. Max.
All Hall of Fame baseball players.
Dress a Barbie, Max. Let a real man answer this. They all started and ended their careers in the same city, but for different teams.
That is correct. Next question. Can you name one of two women golfers to win? Max.
Mickey Wright.
Correct.
Women's golf is not a sport.
Neither is spitting for distance.
But it can be. Women's golf.
All right, next question. What famous Native American midget wrestler? Al.
Sky Low.
That's correct.
Anyway, he's the host, and he starts going through a bunch of questions. Believe it or not, I knew some of them. I knew about the World Football League. There are actually more than one league in the NFL.
Steven. Oh my God, Steven. This is going to be, a lot of this episode is just going to be you giving more facts, because let me point it to you right now. I have the episode queued up on my iPad because I needed this subtitle because I don't even have the note. When they're doing their audition with Max and Mike, Al's other competitors on this game show, one of the questions is, what do these three athletes have a shared common thing? What is shared by Henry Aaron, Willie Mays, and Babe Ruth? And Mike's answer is, they're all baseball players. And everyone laughed.
No, they're all communists, was his answer.
Oh, no. They're all baseball players.
That's what he
yeah.
said, and that's the thing that they all have in common. And I was like, why are you all laughing at him? I knew that too. That is the extent of what I knew about that question. I would be that Mike guy on this sports show, and I probably would have said that too. They all played baseball. That's
Yeah.
all. I wouldn't have known any of that. It made me laugh because I realized, oh, I'm Mike. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Usually Married with Children can really make you feel ashamed if you're not in the know on a certain episode. They always put a character who is meant to be like made fun of, and I felt proud. Like, poor Mike, but at least he gave it a shot.
No, Mike was the girl.
No, the girl was Max.
Yeah, okay. And actually, Max has been on Married with Children before.
Oh, many times.
Yeah, I forgot her real name is Mary Pat Green, and she was in the following episodes of Married with Children: Spring Break Part 1, Shoeless Al, Business Still Sucks, and Scared Single.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think she's the one who comes in and says, "I need shoes."
Yeah, like they're bringing back some good old alumni from Married with Children, and the second I saw her, the way Al leans over and they talk and look at each other, I'm like, her and Ed O'Neill they got to be friends by now. Like, there's good chemistry with everybody. So we head on over to audition, but the audition doesn't go really well, does it, Stephen?
Well, for him it does.
No, it does.
Well, he answers the questions.
Oh yeah, he answers the questions.
He answers the questions. That's the problem. Yeah.
That's what's a tricky thing about this episode. You know he's going to get every single question right. Every single one.
Yeah.
And except for one. Well, he doesn't get it wrong, but Max, I don't know her name, the name they gave her. It's really funny, but basically Max, you're supposed to think it's a guy, but it's actually the girl whose looks really butch by having a baseball cap on her hair. And
I was just talking about her.
She gets, well, I'm describing like the joke of why her name is Max, because it probably wouldn't even be picked up by a 2020 audience just listening to it.
Well, it could stand for Maxine very easily.
Obviously. Lazy joke, but Married with Children can do it. But do you remember the one question that she beat Al on or got to it quicker?
Soccer.
Nope.
No one soccer?
Golf.
Oh, golf, yeah.
Women's golf.
Yeah, which Al says is not a sport.
And you know what? I actually thought about it. I think he's right. And hear me out, America. I think he's right. Because out of all the sports I can think of, can you think of one other sport that should not be segregated by gender than golf? I'm sorry. I don't see why women and men can't play on the same, play against each other in golf. Like, it's golf. It's not, there is literally no contact. If contact is made, you are out of the game forever. Like,
yeah, that's true.
It just blows my mind. Maybe next to bowling, even bowling, you have to have different balls for different weights and everything. There's no women golf balls, or it's just. I think that's I don't know if they were thinking that when they had Al say it, but I think there's a double level on that joke. Like, women's golf is not a sport; it's just golf. I know that's not how Al's meaning it in the episode, but I want to think specifically Amanda Bierce is making this. I want to think that she snuck that in there. So.
Well, she didn't write it; she was directing.
No, but the director has say on what lines can be put in, and I'm sure she had input in the writing at this point late in the show. You know, she could probably make suggestions and stuff like that. I'm just saying, this episode's making me want to see good things into it. Just my thought, but yeah. So Al gets all the questions right, and we'll go more into the questions when we get later into the episode, but he doesn't get the spot, though.
No, he doesn't. I wanted to mention also Alex Neville. He played that other guy on there. who was taken.
Oh, Mike?
Yeah, Mike. And he has 39 acting credits. He was actually in the Star Trek reboot as a shuttle officer. And if you look at his, and he was in Star Trek Enterprise.
Oh, I didn't watch a single episode of Enterprise.
I finally did on the on Netflix when I first got it, because I only saw a few of the episodes. His strongest acting credit was on Shaky Ground, which was a Fox show from 1992 to 1993.
Shaky Ground. Huh.
Yeah, it was an okay TV show. Had its moments, but it just wasn't picked up. Matt Frewer was in it. He was the lead.
Ooh, Matt Frewer. I'm always down for some Matt Frewer. I guess I might have to check that out. See, that guy didn't register on my radar at all. What other episode was he in? Was he in another Married with Children episode?
No other Married with Children episodes.
Okay, good.
Most of his stuff is just small roles. He even had a couple of roles in Cheers. He played Martin Teal. He was in 2 episodes of Cheers.
Good old character actor. We need someone to make fun of. Can we make fun of you? Sure.
Yeah, well, he's now working more in casting and in producing.
Good, making that money. Oh, this is a legit question, Stephen. Did Al mispronounce OJ's name?
No, you got it right.
Really? I thought it was Orenthal.
Mm-hmm. Orenthal is how you say it.
Oh, damn. I always thought it was See, I don't even know how to say the people's names right. This is not a trivia contest for me. But, of course, we have to mention O.J. Simpson, which would that have made a lot of impact on audiences back then?
I don't know. But there was some interesting trivia about this.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And that is, on June 12th, exactly 3 weeks after the airing of this particular episode, OJ's wife and her lover were killed at 875 South Bundy Drive in Brentwood, Los Angeles.
So the answer is no. This was just part of general trivia, which I'm sure the writers after that were just like, damn, we probably shouldn't have even mentioned him. Oh,
by the way, of course, I did not know anything about Sky Low, the midget wrestler.
A real thing. I always thought that when they mentioned midget wrestling as a joke, or I'll say the right word, little people wrestling. But as the network actually named it, Canadian professional midget wrestler who worked as Sky Low. The actual name is Marcel Gauthier. At a small, even for a little person, small, 3'7". He's the smallest superstar in WWE history. Wow. And I'm sure he was treated with so much dignity.
Yeah. And then there was that question about the O'Leary bucket kickers.
Okay, Mr. Bundy, our final question pertains to a local sporting event. What high school has won the most city championships in baseball?
The O'Leary Bucket Kickers.
Correct.
Oh, I knew that one. I got that one, Stephen. I want to say it. I actually recognize that one. O'Leary, as in the Great Chicago Fire of October 8th to 10. Damn, 8th to 10. October 8th to October 10th. 3-day long fire in Chicago, which was, I'm not going to get happy about that. It killed approximately 300 people. It destroyed roughly 3.3 square miles of the city and left more than 100,000 residents homeless. This was a horrible, horrible thing, and the most popular enduring legend, not fact, but the legend beats the fact that the fire began in the O'Leary barn as Mrs. O'Leary was milking her cow. The cow kicked over a bucket or a lantern with oil and lamp in some versions, setting fire to the barn. And I actually did a little bit of back research on this too.
the legend was that the cow started the fire by kicking. They know for a fact the fire originated in the area around the O'Leary's barn. The arsonists were able to, investigators were able to figure that out. And they knew it was started by oil from a lantern or / lamp, some kind of burning fluid. It was not done spontaneously. Whether or not it was the cow is not to be said. And I, for one, think that cow needs to start being given the benefit of the doubt, damn it. Anyway.
Don't have a cow, man.
So we all know that Al Bundy is absolutely the king of sports. Like, if there's one thing that's absolutely true about Al Bundy, if there's one thing he's truly good at, we can't even say he was a great football player. Yeah, he scored 4 touchdowns in a single game once, but for all we know, that's just him like glory hogging. So we can even say his football skills might not have been that great. But one thing he is 100% brilliant at is sports trivia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this happens in many other episodes, and I like that he is usually just Daddy, what team did blah, 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 and he just says it like instantaneously, like Rain Man counting the matches. It's amazing. So this is perfect for Al.
Congratulations, Mr. Bundy. To have mastered that amount of sports knowledge, I can only assume you have absolutely no life.
None whatsoever, Travis. Oh, by the way, when do you guys want me to come back for the real thing?
Well, gee, I'm sorry, Mr. Bundy. We won't be having you back at all.
What? Well, how come? I won.
Well, according to our researchers, you scored extremely low in personality.
Oh, how low?
Now, let me put it to you this way. It was somewhere between Joe Piscopo and the fat kid who played on Head of the Class. Look, you know what? If I liked you at all, I'd really be sorry.
Wait a second. You can't do this to me. I'm a legend. I scored 4 touchdowns in one game at Polk High.
4 touchdowns in high school football. Wow. Look, Mr. Bundy, we're looking for people that are young, smart, and energetic. Or if you really want to be a shoo-in, someone with sex appeal.
Oh, and there's also a Joe Piscopo line.
I know. What is it with Joe Piscopo? I can't get it.
It's a funny name. It's got the k sound and the O and the p sound. I'll put all those 3 together like Joe Piscopo. It's also like onomatopoeia, like bump a bump a bump a bump. It just sounds good and it's funny. But you're right, like Joe Piscopo pops up all over the damn place. Because there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total references of Joe Piscopo from season 3 to season 9 of Married with Children. So I hope Piscopo has made some money off that name. If not, he deserves it.
Definitely. There was also a reference to Head of the Class, an American sitcom that ran from 1986 to 91. I think I saw maybe 2 episodes of that. But it starred Howard Hessman, probably his best known after playing Dr. Johnny Fever and WKRP in Cincinnati. And the fat kid in the class was played by Dennis Blunden. Actor Dan Schneider, who was an overweight wisecracking computer whiz, who had an expert in chemistry and physics. He was cynical and prone to playing sometimes cruel practical jokes, and they weren't ethical. So Dennis had an knack for getting socially inept classmate Arvid involved in some of those schemes.
Okay, so I guess I have either seen parts or heard of parts of that show, because I didn't recognize anything you said until you said Dan Schneider playing Dennis Blunden. I recognize the name Dennis Blunden, so I probably have seen the show. And you know what? It sounds better than The Avengers. on
Yeah.
one show episode we shall not mention again. But yeah, basically, Al is just dropping beat after beat after beat. He is getting all the questions correct. But lo and behold, he doesn't get the spot. And why is that, Stephen?
Because Al doesn't have a personality, or at least a likable one.
Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, game shows are not meant for people who are just plainly good at it. The reason why Ken, if we all remember Ken from Jeopardy, who won millions, he didn't keep coming back because he just got all the answers right. He came back because he was actually a very charismatic and likable and magnetic person. People just liked him. You spoke to him and you just ended up smiling. There's really no reason for this. If you look at a picture of him, you won't get it. But watch 30 seconds of Jeopardy, any little banter between him and Trebek, the audience was in love with this guy.
And he's done a great job in filling in for Trebek over the last few weeks.
How is Trebek's condition, by the way?
He died.
Are you serious?
You missed that? He died back in, it was either November or January. Yeah.
Oh my God, I absolutely should cut this out, but you know what? Out of reference and respect to him, I won't. I am so sorry, Alex Trebek's memory. I remembered hearing that he was battling cancer and that the last time I heard that he was doing good. I did not know. I can't keep up with all the bad news, Stephen. It's just, oh.
There's too much bad news out there. And the first person he met when he went up to heaven was Sean Connery.
Oh, man.
Welcome to heaven, Trebek. Referring to the Saturday Night Live skits.
No,
anyway.
I recognize that. It took me a millisecond, but you know what? I said to myself I would never watch Jeopardy without Trebek. If they give Ken the role, I'd do it. I'd watch it. I think that would be a nice passing of the torch. He's probably one of the only people who is on Jeopardy as much next to Trebek.
Yeah, and by the way, they're going to have some more guest hosts, but like I said, I thought Ken Jennings did a great job. I do believe he's from Oklahoma, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, if they're from Oklahoma, I got to mention it.
Before we go back to the household, we get a weird little thought bubble in his head.
Yeah, someone who is young and energetic, he thinks of Bud, and has sex appeal. He suddenly thinks of Kelly.
Now, that made me laugh because immediately when they said sex appeal, I thought it was going to be an image of Peg, and then he was going to like grimace, and then it would be Marcy, and he would almost puke, and then it should be Kelly. But you know what? It's fine.
You know, that's a great idea. I like that idea.
That's what I thought was
that would have been hilarious.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
Anyway, after that, we go back to the Bundy household.
Yes, because Al can't get in because he ain't likable. But no, like, this is the beginning of the best part of the episode because it's obviously, because Kelly's in the title, it's a Kelly episode. Because who better to give sex appeal and get people flipping to that channel than get Christina Applegate. Problem is, though, Kelly's got a little bit of a learning problem if you're not already aware of this.
Yeah, and by the way, I got to point this out. I know it's weird, but I noticed something when they went back. Bud is sitting down reading and studying, and he's eating Oreo cookies.
He is?
And I'm wondering, why isn't Al trying to steal these Oreos? He's always complaining of being hungry.
Yeah, what's food doing in the Bundy's household? Shouldn't it, like, crumble to dust when the second they, get there? You're right, he's got a plate of Oreos and milk. They got milk, too? Man.
Yeah.
What store did they rob? No, but yes, so,
Daddy, I can't go on a sports trivia show. I don't know anything about sports.
Well, so you went to class every day. You don't know anything about school.
Oh, yeah? Then how come they gave me a thing?
A diploma?
Yeah.
Because you tried. Sweetheart, please. No, it's for a new TV. Come on, I'll tell you what. I'll order the cartoon channel for you.
Okay. I'll go upstairs and call in sick for today. My boss isn't gonna like it, but at least somebody's appreciating me for my mind. basement.
Bud, now listen. You've helped Kelly with her schoolwork. Tell me, is she capable of, anything?
Well, sure. You just gotta work within her limitations. Look, Kelly's brain can hold anything. You just gotta make sure of two things before you start. One, that it's totally empty.
Well, we know it.
And two, you gotta feed her information slowly, a drop at a time until she's full.
Full?
Oh, yeah. Kelly's brain can actually get full. Yeah. And then you gotta be really careful, because each new fact after that will totally replace an old one. That's how come she forgot to put on a blouse the day she took her driver's test.
I wonder why her license expires every 60 days.
We get a nice little callback actually coming up because Al and Bud are going to be talking about Kelly, and specifically Kelly's brain. And this whole dialogue coming up is going to be a callback from season 3, episode 22, Here's Looking at You, Kid, where they talk about Kelly's brain.
Is she learning anything?
Kelly, what's the Bill of Rights?
The first 10 amendments to the Constitution.
What are the 3 main types of clouds?
There are 3. Cumulus, cirrus, and stratus.
What is a synapse?
The junction, a microscopic gap, actually, of 2 neighboring neurons or nerve cells.
It's incredible. Good job, Bud.
Thanks, Dad. But, there is one slight problem. See, if you take a gallon of knowledge and pour it into a shot glass of a brain, you're gonna spill some. In other words, certain basic information had to be sacrificed.
Like what?
What was that?
The doorbell.
Ah. Who's the old guy?
That's Dad.
Ah. Are you our dog? Doorbell.
But basically, the whole idea of Kelly's brain being way too, I guess it should be. It doesn't kind of work on paper, Stephen, because like if her brain is empty, she should be able to take in. Like if her brain is stupid, she should be able to take in a lot of knowledge. But the idea is she can't retain it. So every time you give her a fact, it literally pushes facts out of her head.
All right. Good, sweetheart. First, tell me everything you know about sports.
I know that you scored 4 touchdowns in one game for Pokai.
Very good. What else?
Golf spelled backwards is flog.
It's time for No Ma'am to take a little break in the Jiggly Room. I'm the DJ, and I'm gonna play a little bit of music that was on this week's episode of Married with Children.
to yachting.
Daddy?
Huh?
I'm full.
So if you teach her that Hank Aaron was a baseball player, she's going to forget how to, like, blink or something like that.
Or what the doorbell sounds like.
Yeah, or what, or weird things like who was her dog, and who
was Al,
or who was seven.
Oh, you're giving it away anyway.
No, it's a great because the montage goes. They speed through this. Basically, Al is going to teach Kelly how to teach her. He is going to drill facts into her head, which, Steven, as a sports enthusiast, is it at all possible for any one person in any temporary amount of time to learn the amount of facts that you would need for this weird, obscure level of trivia that they go through in this game?
Who knows? Let me just put it to you this way. Some people are fascinated with trivia. Other people, like my dad, are bored with trivia. They don't find it interesting at all. So you have to have, one, an aptitude for things sticking out. And two, it has to relate to something you like. I can also spout you a lot of Star Trek trivia, a lot of Star Wars trivia. But I can also point out sports trivia, and I know a lot of history trivia as well as history itself. So it depends upon the person. Kelly strikes me as someone who wouldn't be interested in trivia.
No.
She just does. I can't explain why.
Well, my actual question was, I didn't form it right. Unlike other forms of trivia, like Star Trek trivia, we'll give Star Trek trivia. If you were going to go onto a Star Trek trivia contest with other people about Star Trek, is there any way within, let's give it a month between this audition and this actual episode, taping of their episode, would it be possible to teach someone who doesn't know anything about Star Trek enough trivia that could cover enough broad and focused, detailed areas that they could supposedly win against other real Trekkies? Bullshit.
Yeah, you're right. And like I said, because some people aren't interested in trivia.
Well, it's not that they're not interested. The amount of information, and next to the idea of sports, not baseball, not football, not soccer, sports. And there's a line later on where Al's like, I taught her more local stuff than national stuff. I'm like, good God, this thing is covering everything. That's why I'm laughing.
That's where I would have trouble, because I know football and baseball really well. I even know basketball to a certain extent, and a little bit of hockey. When you're looking at some of the level of trivia on there, that's really very difficult to remember. Well, you have to remember, I think we kind of glossed over a little bit when she was going through the training, that you see things going out of her, going in one ear and out the other. Like something that went out of her mind was E = MC squared. And then you see a picture of Buck, and then you see a picture of 7.
There goes C.
I think the audience had already forgotten.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
I already had that stuff, and it kind of illustrates the point. So she's probably, I wonder if she can remember to breathe at this point.
That's a good point. And listeners, if you're one of the listeners who listens to us but doesn't actually watch the episode, at the very least, check that scene out where it's just it's a montage of, Steven's right, of literally white text words. Kelly is staring, focused at the screen, and white words are getting squeezed into one ear, and then other facts are getting shot out the other. And it's really fun. It's a perfect image of me learning, studying for any test.
And I forgot about one of the funny, I thought was a hilarious joke, but when Al was teaching her this stuff, he had these images of certain players and something next to him. He had a picture of Marcy.
Oh, yeah.
And you had to put the egg next to Marcy and the football next to one guy and the basketball to another guy. And it made me think of a very important philosophical question. Who came first, Marcy or the egg?
Well, some mysteries are not meant to be solved, Stephen.
Yeah.
Now, don't learn anything new until this game show is over.
How am I supposed to do that?
Follow your mother around.
Welcome to Touchdown Trivia. Here's the star of our show, Travis James.
Okay, I know we're anxious to win some money, so let's get started, shall we? Our first question in Touchdown Trivia. What National League batter set the all-time record for strikeouts in a single season despite batting over 300? Mike.
Bobby Bonds, 189 strikeouts in 1970.
That's correct.
Hey, my buzzer didn't work.
You've got to squeeze the buzzer, honey. Don't jerk it.
Thanks. I learned something.
Gee, so did I.
Oh, no, Pig. Travis put a thought into Kelly's head. That means she lost a fact.
For another 5 yards, what National Hockey League team won only one game in franchise history? Kelly.
Montreal Wanderers 1917 won their opener, lost their next 5, and then their stadium burned down.
Absolutely correct. All right, our next question is in professional basketball. In the NBA, who had the highest percentage of free throws in a single season? Kelly.
Calvin Murphy of the Houston Rockets with a whopping 95.8%.
Right again. Now for 10 yards, what do Karl Marx, Bob Dylan, and heavyweight champion Sonny Liston have in common? Tony.
They're all communist.
No, that's not what we're looking for. Mike.
Mamie Van Doren.
Judges? No, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Kelly.
They're all on the cover of the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper album.
Slide that head.
So let's get into their little contest, actually. So the original two people, Max and Mike, are gone. Mike is still here. Max, for some reason, didn't make it. It's instead replaced with a dude named Tony. So it's Kelly and Tony and Mike. We already talked about Mike, good character actor from Star Trek and other shows. What do we know about Tony, Stephen?
Well, not much.
Yeah, that's what
Not much.
I'm looking at him and I didn't think much either. Let's see. Side note here, Stephen, do we have anything on Tony? I'm scrolling through and I can't find anything.
There's no, was it Trainee?
No, it's Tony. I'm looking at the episode right now. I have it paused on the three of them.
I'm seeing somebody here. He does have quite a few acting credits. Yeah, like I said, he is known for The Orange is New Black.
Okay, wow. So, again, we'll give it to Married with Children for giving paychecks and paying gigs to actors who probably don't get a lot of work. So, good for them. And I love this. Let's just talk about this touchdown trivia. I love this whole setup. The whole set, it looks so cheap, but very, very cute and lovable. There's pictures of, it's nothing but football references, though. Their names are in little footballs. There's football players in the background. And the game is called Touchdown, but they barely ask one football question. It's all baseball, basketball, women's soccer, women's golf, soccer, yachting. I just find it funny that it's touchdown trivia, but they don't talk about football almost at all.
Yeah, by the way, I found Tony was played by Mike Canizo.
Mike Canizo. Yeah.
Something like that. And he's only has 9 acting credits, and that's it.
Damn. So so Married with Children is more than 10% of this guy's acting career. Wow.
Yeah.
Dang, good. You know what? I'd like that to be my acting career. But yeah, so the whole set, I love this. You know me, I love sets. This is a great set for Married with Children. This whole game show thing, the way Travis runs out there and kind of like does a little jog in place, waves at the audience, comes on back. It's just so. It's so like, all right, quick, we got 40 minutes. Let's create a game show. And oh yeah, and also I love the little score trackers. It reminds me of the old Green Monster from Fenway Park, how they would just kind of slide the little people over. It's a little chart that shows yards on a football field, and as the characters get them right, you have to move the little cutout characters of them across the field. It's just, I love it. It's all really fun.
You know, I kind of wish now that we had invited Chris Gunter to be on, because, you know, he won big on The Price is Right last spring.
Oh, damn. It really would have been good to have him on.
Yeah, we could have gotten his perspective on being on a game show. I've never been on one.
Mm-hmm. It's very, it looks like it would be a lot of fun and just very surreal and strange. But anyway, we've got we have, before the game begins, it starts off on a bad foot because Kelly does not get the first question right. She doesn't even get a chance to buzz in. And I'm watching the scene on repeat right now on my iPad, and she legit is not pressing that buzzer. She is squeezing and jerking that buzzer up and down and looking so silly. And they get away with the opening line that I gave at the beginning of the episode. They got away with one of the most outrageous sex jokes I have ever heard on a public television.
Yeah. You got to squeeze it, not jerk it.
And then to add emphasis, Peggy. Oh, she learned something, Peg. And so did I. I'm like, oh my God. It's literally like we gave a middle finger to the censors, and Peg gave another one. Like, I love it. I just love that they got away with that. It's so obvious. But so yeah, now that Kelly knows to squeeze it, not jerk it, the game really goes in. Some of these questions are insane. We didn't write a lot of them down, but there are some that are just so very, like, I don't even recognize the names of the people. Like, there's one question I have right out here. Our next question is in professional basketball. In the NBA, who had the highest percentage of free throws in a single season? Like, that, it's that little extra in a single season that would just eliminate 90% of people who could like answer a question. I'm sure a lot of sports randos could probably tell me who has the highest amount of free throws ever, but then like in one single season, boom, cut that amount of people in half. Like,
yeah.
It's just so focused. And a lot of us, you may not like trivia, but at me personally, I find it very fascinating when people can know very, very detailed things about something very specific. And that's engaging to me. But you're right. Like, if that's not your thing, this episode may not grab you. But they did a really great thing. They montaged this to a point where you don't have to know anything about sports to understand and enjoy this whole aspect of this entire trivia contest.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, basically, Kelly's head is smashed so full of trivia and facts that she probably doesn't even know her own name. But amazingly, it's working. This works. We should mention that at one point there's a commercial break, I think, and Travis, the announcer, wants to get to know one of the new contestants, and of course he chooses the hot girl.
Oh, baby, you're getting some tonight.
Now, before we continue, let's meet our contestants.
Oh, no.
What's wrong?
Travis might ask her a question, or worse, tell her something she doesn't know. She'll lose another fact.
Our first contestant
I'm from Young Hair...
is Kelly Bundy, a poison disseminator from right here in Chicago. So tell me, Miss Bundy.
She's married!
Okay, that's enough chit-chat. Let's get back to our game!
Yeah, and by the way, we talked about that one question about what do these three people have in common, including Karl Marx. The answer was these were all people who appeared on the Beatles album, the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club. I thought to myself, is that a sports trivia show? Trivia question, really? That sounds more like a rock music.
So I thought the same thing too. That was a really weird question, and if you give me 1 second, I want to pull that question back up. I'm like watching the questions right now because I'm a huge Beatles fan. I don't have the kind of trivia. So yeah, here it is. Yeah, you're right. What do Karl Marx, Bob Dylan, and here you go, Stephen, and heavyweight champion Sonny Liston have in common?
Yeah, that sounds like a rock music trivia.
And it would be, but it's got heavyweight champion Sonny Liston on there.
I still don't find that sports trivia. I find that more rock and roll trivia.
That's the joke. They have one athlete from boxing in there, so therefore it can be called a sports question.
Maybe.
No, that's obviously, that has to be the joke, and it made me laugh. But it's a good one too because it makes you only like a real fan of sports, I think, would even notice, like, hey, wait a second, is that a sports question? It didn't occur to me at all. All I heard was Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Gang, and I'm like, oh, is there a bunch of athletes on the Sgt. Pepper album? There could be. There's a lot of people up there, but I knew Karl Marx was on there. I didn't know heavyweight champion Sonny Liston was there. So I'm going to have to, I have that album cover framed. I'm going to have to go stare at it a little bit longer.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good album. It's my favorite one by them.
Oh, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to get one more question. Oh, yeah. But so that, well, you know what? Since I have that question pulled up and I have to have some trivia for it, we have the answers that they give for that what do they all have in common question. Tony goes, they're all communists.
Yeah.
Nope, that's not what they're looking for. I'm literally watching the episode. And they go, Mike. The other character goes, Mamie Van Doren. So, Mamie Van Doren is an American actress, model, singer, and sex symbol. And she's perhaps best remembered for the rock and roll juvenile delinquent exploitation movie Untamed Youth, and other films of this caliber. Van Doren has been married 5 times. In her autobiography, Van Doren acknowledged that she had numerous affairs with celebrities. These included Clark Gable, Howard Hughes, Johnny Carson, Elvis Presley, Burt Reynolds, Jack Dempsey, Steve McQueen, Clint Eastwood, John Rivers, Robert Evans, Eddie Fisher, and Warren Beatty, Tony Curtis, Steve Cochran, and Joe Namath. What's something all those guys have in common? The answer would be Mamie Van Doren. Claiming fidelity to each lover, she said about Hollywood life, in quotes, I don't wear panties anymore. This startles the Hollywood wolves so much they don't know what to pull at, so they leave me alone. Whew.
I'm just like, how did that... That's an answer out of left field. Of course, it does relate because I guess she slept with Joe Namath.
You know what? And for all who we read, she has been, in her autobiography, she acknowledged that she had numerous affairs. The ones that I read these include, but not limited to, those people. So
Yeah.
There's a very good chance she fucked Karl Marx and Joe Lisbeth Tony Crawford's.
Maybe that was the joke.
That was
I
the
just didn't think that one was. Yeah.
Because the actual question was, what to Karl Marx heavyweight champion show listed, and who's the other guy? Bob Dylan.
Yeah, Bob Dylan.
So she had a three-way with Karl Marx, the leader of the Communist Revolution, Nobel Prize winner in literature Bob Dylan, and the heavyweight champion. Wow. Man, Maeve Van Doren, I think she's a lot of women's new hero now. So, dang, girl, you go. But yeah, so these are what I'm talking about, some obscure shit. And apparently, Kelly knew that one, meaning Al knew the answer to that. So at some point, Al knew what those three people had in common. So apparently this is a sports question.
At the same time, that's his generation of music, though. He would have grown up listening to the Beatles.
But Al doesn't take me as somebody who would have liked the Beatles at all.
I don't know. Yeah, anyway.
No, when I think of Al Bundy, I would not think a Beatles fan. I just think he would think the British are a little fruity, you know?
Probably.
Everything is great. We got Al and Peggy in the audience. Al is getting so happy and just being really great. Oh, she's going to get it. He's a really active audience member. Peg is just chilling there trying to pretend she's not pregnant. And Al is really happy because they're doing local questions now, not national questions. We find out, though, every time she learns anything, like the fact that she learned to squeeze it, not jerk it, meant that she lost a piece of trivia. So literally, Kelly has nothing. I'm sure she doesn't even remember her name at the moment.
Now, Kelly, as you know, our bonus question is always in local sports. You have $1,000 that you can keep. But if not, you can go for the run-back question and a chance at a check for $10,000.
Let's rock.
Okay.
Al, aren't you afraid they're going to ask her the one fact she lost?
What are the odds of that? I taught her more local stuff than national, Peg. We can't lose.
Okay, Kelly, for $10,000 in local high school football, who scored 4 touchdowns in one game for Polk High School in the Chicago City Championship?
Excuse me while I kiss the sky.
Al.
You know, Peg, this proves a personal theory of mine. The longer you suffer, the greater the rewards. That's how the gods work.
Then why won't the gods let her answer?
Huh?
Polk High, 4 touchdowns. Red squeeze buzzer?
Oh, I'm sorry, Kelly. The correct answer was, audience? Al Bundy!
We now get to the final Jeopardy. The final trivia for touchdown trivia.
Yeah. Easy mistake to make. But so the final question. So Al is incredibly nervous but excited. I saw this question coming a mile away.
Me too.
And I knew it. I love it.
You got to remember one thing. What? He asked her, do you want to just keep the money you've won or do you want to go for this whole thing? And what does Kelly say? Let's rock.
So good.
Just like her daddy.
What do you think, Steven? I'm going to go with that was take 9 of how many times she had to do it to get just right. Let's rock. It was good.
It was good, yeah. Yeah, I saw the question coming too. The question, I thought, of course, he's going to ask the one question that she should know. but forgot.
Yeah, and we forgot to mention that this is a very fun Kelly and Al episode, specifically a daddy-daughter episode, and I'm so upset that we couldn't get Jamie on this episode. This would have, because she loves those things, and I do too. And that's if there's one negative thing about this episode, and when I say negative, I mean it's not like happy and positive and upbeat. It's how sad Kelly is when she misses the one sports question that even I knew the answer to, a local question. Which high school? You know what? I got to get the actual, I want to get the actual wording of the question, because I think it's so specific, too.
I think it was who scored 4 touchdowns in one game for Polk High to win their city championship.
Give me 1 second. Let's Rock. She's giving the Let's Rock thing. Okay. And Al's clapping. Okay, Kelly, for $10,000 in local high school football, who scored 4 touchdowns in one game for Polk High School in the Chicago City Championship? Oh man, Al looks like he's like, excuse me while I kiss the sky.
He's basking in it because he's going to hear his name.
This improves a theory of mine. The longer you suffer, the more rewards the gods will give you. The longer you suffer, the greater the rewards. That's how the gods work. Oh, Al's a polygamous. And it's so sad. Oh, I have the episode playing right now, and the look of Kelly looks gorgeous, by the way, but the look of sadness on her face. Red squeeze buzzer is not the answer, unfortunately.
And that is the new fact she got that obviously kicked out the fact that Al Bundy scored 4 touchdowns in one game.
Which is so smart and so well written.
Yeah, very clever writing on that one. Great joke.
Oh, so good.
And then after that, Kip, or what was his name? I forget.
Travis.
Travis, yeah. He said, audience, who was it? And everybody else in the audience can say it was Al Bundy.
Including with me at home. Al Bundy. Except for Al and Peg. Al's just staring at his hands.
Al,
Yes, Peg.
am I still getting some?
No, Peg. In fact, when we get home, I just might take some back. Well, it's not 10 grand, but a new TV's not a bad consolation prize.
So you mean I did good?
No.
Oh, come on, Al. You're proud of her. Now admit it.
Well, you did your best, Pumpkin, so... Yeah, I'm proud of you.
Yeah, can we watch something special on the new TV?
Sure, son. You know, it doesn't get any better than this.
Who's that riding across the plain? Who's lost the town of the wise and slain? Who is the man who's plumb insane? Psycho Dad, Psycho Dad.
But, you know what? It's not even a bad ending. Because unlike any other episode where it would just be, more breaking down Al's got a new TV.
It's a consolation prize.
Yeah, no one's giving him shit. And it ends with, you did your best, Pumpkin. I'm so proud of you. And how does it end? It starts with the way it ends. It started with Psycho Dad, and it ends with Psycho Dad.
And you might notice while Peg and Bud look like they're, like they can't stand this, Al and Kelly are the ones singing along with the theme song.
Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at it right now. They look so cute. They end with their hands like shaking, and quite frankly, the way it ends on freeze frame with the credits popping up, I want that freeze frame
printed.
Mm-hmm.
I actually might do it. I was thinking of doing that subscription, Steven, where they like you send a picture in and they put it, they like paint it or engrave it on something, and I might get that shot just because of like you got Bud reading, you got a bowl of popcorn which shouldn't exist in that house sitting on Peg's lap, but it's hiding the baby bump. and Al on the end. Even the way they're sitting, I don't see them sitting that way. Usually it's Peg on the end, Al in the middle, and then Kelly and Bud. But they have it sit so perfectly to have that nice frame shot at the end. I was just like, I just ended with smiles. It was so good.
No Ma'am will be right back to wrap up this week's review. Be sure to join their Facebook group page for all the podcast news and updates. Be sure to subscribe to them on the Apple Podcast app, and please leave a review telling them what you think of the show. To subscribe to their YouTube channel, just go to channels and search up Married with Children podcast. Join their Patreon and support your favorite podcast with a small monthly donation. You can email them at marriedwchildrenpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for checking out this review.
Well, after all considerations, how many facts are you going to gain or sacrifice for this particular episode?
Well, I'm going to give it 0 facts. This was the worst episode I've ever seen on television in my entire life. Hell no. You know what, Steven? I'm going to do a rarity here. I've only done it once before. I'm giving this 5 facts. I am learning or forgetting, I don't care what, 5 facts. I will forget my grade school yearbook title. I will forget where I went to high school. I will forget what I ate for breakfast yesterday to give this episode 5 facts out of 5. I loved it. It was so well written. It had a nice, just easy plot to follow. It had fun guest stars who knew exactly what they wanted to do, and it ended with a happy ending, but also, so sad, with something so sad that she couldn't even remember her dad. Pretty much, that's how I took that. She forgot who her daddy was for a quick second, and that was really sad. But besides that, it was all good. It was a really, really strong episode, and I'm really excited for season 9, and I can't wait, and I hope for more of this. Whew. What about you, Steven?
I'm going to give it 5 facts. I'll sacrifice 5 facts for 5 new facts coming in, because I thought this was very well done. I agree. The writing was on perfect, firing on all cylinders. I think 99% of the jokes worked really well. The only one I didn't care for, actually there were 2 things: when the smoke was coming out of Kelly's ears, and then when Mamie, whoever, that just went by me. I guess I wasn't too familiar with that person at all. But again, Al and Kelly together, and then at the end they're singing the Psycho Dad theme song together. This one, I would, again, 5.
All right, I said I was going, and I'm going. But let me tell you something. I'm not going to just disappear. You'll see me again. Wherever a fat woman shoves a smelly foot in front of some poor guy's face, I'll be there.
And now, the last word on this episode. Calling in from his 2/3 acre retirement property on Lake Chickamaucomico that the government hasn't yet padlocked, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the creator and executive producer of the Married with Children podcast, Mr. Alex Edwards.
Devoted listeners, honorary no ma'am, those of you who have taken this journey from Season 1, Episode 1, to the last episode of Season 8 and who will go beyond, this is your pal Al, here to not even give my thoughts on this episode, but instead to talk about something else that won't fly out of my memory the way things do with Kelly. It's about a memory that I will always remember fondly, and the chances of it popping out of my head are nil. And that memory is being the host of this podcast for 7 seasons and stepping away into semi-retirement as I gave my wrap-up thoughts for all of these episodes in Season 8 to, I guess, another form of semi-retirement. You know, the show has passed on to a great team of people who have really put a lot of effort into this and did a great job, kept the spirit of the show going. But it's time for me to step away on an even bigger level and say goodbye even to doing my wrap-ups here. And just to thank everybody. The only capacity I may ever come back for is, you know, major things like if we get a big name on the show, like Al or Peg or Kelly. If any of them come on here to do an interview, I'd be happy to jump on and do my best. Hopefully give you everything you'd want out of an interview with any of those people, along with, you know, other members of the new team. But, yeah, that's about as far as it'll go as far as hearing from me. I may do one review a year for season 9, 10, and 11. Maybe I'll jump on for like one of those shows each season, you know, just to say hi to everybody and interact a little bit. But yeah, as far as a weekly thing, I think the only time you'll hear my voice is with the intro of the show. So I'll still technically be on all of them. You know, last night I was looking for a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air podcast because my wife really wanted to revisit that show, so we ordered them on Vudu, the complete series of that show, season 1 through 6. I think it was only like $60 or something like that, 65 maybe. We wanted to watch all of them, and I was going to listen to the podcast for all of them if somebody did it, and nobody did it. There is no podcast for that show. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is a big show, pretty popular, everybody knows it. Just as, I wouldn't say just as popular, maybe more popular, who knows, than Married with Children, and I thought it was fascinating that nobody made one for this show. I really couldn't believe it, that this was the only one, that I would create the only Married with Children podcast ever. That's an honor, and nothing that comes after it will ever really be the same, because you know they're just going to listen to our show and regurgitate most of that. What happened here was a magical thing. Some amazing moments. Some of the best nights of my life were recording this show with the people who did, and I want to thank every single person who ever joined me during my run or anybody that came after. It's your love that makes Married with Children special today, and it's your love that makes people still ask about the reboot that will never happen. That's what it is. So thank you all. If you ever have the desire to hear my take on anything Married with Children again, season 1 through 7 will always be floating around. Or else you could just be real safe and just download them all. That way you'll always have these. When you're 60 years old, you can sit on your porch in the summer with a drink and have the podcast on in the background. Or just in your earbuds, so no one knows how crazy you are. But yeah, thank you everybody. Great times. I'm sure these guys will carry you through the next 3 seasons just as well as they did this season. Remember, if you ever want to chat, just call 1-800-RIGNY or PIMF, and I'll be there.
That's Al, folks.
Happy trails until we meet again.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Happy trails to you till we meet again.
And you know, another thing I just thought of, very few shows that have 11 seasons and if you said, what's a good episode for me to watch if I've never, ever seen the show before completely, but I won't watch a single bit of the first season. You got to give me a different one. I would be like, you know what? The last episode of season 8. Go watch that.
You know, and like I said before, I think this is the weakest season overall, but it ends on a very, very high note, and for that you got to give it credit.
I think it's the best out of season 8.
Yeah, I still like Dances with Wheezy a little bit better, but I would rank this one definitely as a number 2.
Absolutely.
And actually, Married with Children fans, be sure to tune in next week because we are going to be doing a season 8 retrospective. It's going to be Luigi and I along with Annabelle, and I think Matt's going to be there, so we're going to have a fun time ranking our favorite episodes, our best moments, and it's going to be a great time.
Yeah, and make sure you definitely check that episode out. Don't pull what I pulled and sleep in and miss the episode. I did.
You weren't the only one. Chris couldn't make it either, but it's all
I
right.
felt like I had missed a test or something, and the response on our little group chat was, if we had another person, we would have gone for another 2 hours. And I'm like, oh, thank you for that. But I felt so stupid when I woke up like, damn it, I missed it.
If you had gone on, it would have gone on for another 4 hours, probably.
I have not listened to the episode, even though I could if I wanted to. I decided as punishment, listeners, I will wait until it's published and listen to it along with you so we can have fun together.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's it, Stephen. We did it. Season 8. Again, I congratulated us at the beginning. We deserve another congratulations because Married with Children's still going, and we've got 3 more seasons to go, and I'm so excited.
I've got a perfect way for an outro today.
Oh, yeah? What is it?
Okay. When I say go, will you say, whoa, Bundy? 1, 2, 3. Whoa, Bundy!
All right, all you Psycho Dad fans, that does it for season 8.